Hello guys, today we will talk about NVIDIA stock prices. And this is just one example of one company which you can explore with Python and Pandas to perform data analysis and visualization. And I know that the stock price of NVIDIA skyrocketed here, as you can see on the screen, but I decided to answer 3 questions to myself, which I will show in this video. First, recreate this chart in a Jupyter notebook with Matplotlib, testing Macrotrends website data, what CSV does it give, for free by the way, and how to parse it and how does it work. So testing Macrotrends was one of the goals. Then second question, was it a particular day or a few days where the growth happened, the biggest growth per day? So we will filter that with Pandas data frame. And then also I wanted to compare NVIDIA stock rise with a few more companies. So I've chosen AMD and Apple, and we will compare them visually with Matplotlib and Plotly. So let's go to my Jupyter notebook to see what I came up with. So the CSV file given by Macrotrends looks like this. Some header and disclaimer, and then date, and then prices with columns. And we're particularly interested in the close column, and we have data from 1999. So we'll read that into the data frame with Pandas, skip the first 14 rows, and immediately parse the dates, this column, because we will group by that in the chart. Then next we take only the columns that we care about, which is date and close. And then to create the first plot, we need to set the index of date, so that would be the x-axis data. And we have basically the same chart, the same plot as it's shown on the Macrotrends website. So that was my first kind of goal in this project, to recreate the same visual from the CSV. The second task that I came up with is to calculate the days with biggest growth. So here's the code. We create a separate data frame to avoid overriding the original data, and then in that data frame we create a separate column calculating close minus open, which means growth. Then we sort the values by growth with ascending false, and then we format that growth column with applying lambda function of formatting to 2 digits and $sign in the beginning. So apparently there were 5 days, 5 top growth days, which are in different years. So 2021, 22, 23, and 24. So no 2 consecutive days are with the same growth. Interestingly, tail will give us the lowest, so the biggest declines, and this one doesn't count because it was in the middle of the day, so probably the end of the day wasn't there yet. But basically you can see that the similar growth or the same growth, like $20-something per day, also happened, which means that stocks do go up and down. In the long term it may look like steady growth, but actually day by day it's very unstable. And next, comparing to AMD and Apple. I've downloaded CSVs for both of them, and by the way I will put out that Jupyter notebook on GitHub as well, and I will put that in the description below, the link to that. So we'll read those CSVs as well. We import Matplotlib pyplot and then create 3 plots on the same PLT, adding title, labels, and then data of date column and close column. So this will be x-axis data and this will be y-axis data, and then separately same thing, but just for last 4 years since 2020, and let me explain why. So this is the 25-year period, which means that we have growth only in the last years, and majority of that chart is kind of irrelevant. So it's much more beneficial to filter the trends from 2020, which looks like this, which shows visually much more about NVIDIA growth to compare with AMD and Apple stock prices. And then finally the same chart with Plotly. So instead of Matplotlib, we import Plotly Express as PX, and then we add 3 scatter plots. Again, X and Y axis with mode and name, and a few more options to that figure with Plotly. And also I wanted to have interactive filter by all time, only last year, or only last month. And for that I made a few calculations with dates, and you can play around with different parameters of that Plotly chart. As I said, I will put that on GitHub. And then at the end we write to HTML file, and this is how that HTML looks like. interactive chart where you can hover over a particular day and see the prices, but also you can filter all time, only last year, or only last month. So if you want to have such interactive plot for a website, for example, or just for yourself to be able to filter the data quickly, Plotly is a better option than Matplotlib, which is more for static plots. So yeah, this is quite a simple example for those of you who are not that familiar with data visualization with Python libraries. What do you think about this example? Would you have done something differently? Let's discuss in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel to have more practical projects about data analysis and visualization like this one. And see you guys in other videos.